Hey everybody, it is Wine About Funerals, and we dragged in Miss Joelle, the grave woman, into this edition with me and Lauren, Little Miss Funeral. We are going to talk about songs and music from funerals. We all have our wine. I brought Josh. I feel like I had my buddy Josh last time we were here drinking as well. I had to share at Hearst Fest. I got this last responders wine glass, which is kind of fun. Who has that? I don't know. I do. And thank God for Target. Let's wine about it.
That's amazing. Did you send me that? I think you sent me that. I think you sent me a photo of that. I forgot about that. That's how long since we've recorded one of these videos.
I found it in my closet the other day. I was like, oh my gosh, I got to save this out and wear it when we shoot this. So I was excited. I don't know. It's fun. So we're going to talk about songs. We're going to dive into, I thought about making this karaoke edition, but I'm not going to put our viewers through that.
Well, I'm tone deaf, but Noelle. Oh my gosh, already. Joelle promised that she would start singing in this video.
At some point, there's going to be music. There has to be. So the first thing we're going to do, I have a list of awesome questions. Well, one I have to talk about. Oh, maybe that's ironic. So number one, songs that you are immune to that play at funerals because you have heard them so many times. And maybe this song agitates you now because you've heard it and it's like, oh, make it end, or it just, everybody's crying and you're like, I don't get it. What is that song for you guys?
For me, it might be Frank Sinatra, My Way.
I was going to say that. But if I have to pick song number 2, it would be Josh Groban, You Raise Me Up.
Oh, I don't even think I've played Frank Sinatra, like hardly ever. You guys must be in weird areas.
I was like, maybe it's an East Coast thing, but you're over here too. I feel like Frank Sinatra, My Way is everybody. People will come into the funeral home and they're like, we have to play that song because Dad just did things his way. And I'm sure he has. And it's a wonderful song if you don't hear it very often, but being in this profession where that's one of those, it just kind of gets like old quick.
So my biggest, and we're going to go, and I think a lot of people would vote for this, Go Rest High, not Go Rest High on the Mountain. Yeah. The Vince Gill, Go Rest High on the Mountain.
I've never heard it.
Oh my!
I haven't heard that.
I've never heard that. So what really is, it's like a 5.5 minute long song. So I won't even, if families ever want to play it, I'm like, we will exit on that. We will play a good 1 minute of it and then we'll exit. Because 5.5 minutes sitting and listening to a song is endless. Like, ooh. And it says nice things like, boy, your work on earth is done. Like, you did good here and now you're going to your mountain. Like, it's great. But it's so overplayed because maybe we have a lot of country folk here and we get a lot of country music, a lot of country music. I think all the hymns, I don't know, sometimes the hymns still get me, like A Good Amazing Grace, like Leanne Rimes has A Good Amazing Grace. Usually it's lost on me, but every once in a while you get like a version where it's like, oh, that's a good, like, just hit you right. But try to think some other good songs that are not good anymore.
Are there you guys here on Egypt, the Catholics?
On Eagles Wings.
I would say that song is played
on Eagles Wings.
Yeah.
But the funny thing about that song is I hear it, I'm not even exaggerating, on probably every Catholic funeral that I do. But that song still to this day gets me because we played that song walking into my grandfather's funeral.
Oh, so you go back.
Yes, because I have that personalization that comes with it. Like every time I hear it, I think of my grandfather's funeral. So it still to this day gets me.
Trying to think of other there's songs we play, like I Can Only Imagine so many times, but there's still times that it just, it just really is good because maybe I've connected to the family and I know the person's story, but most of the times I'm like, oh, not again.
Well, I'm going to go the opposite. I love Amazing Grace, and a good one will get me, but I've heard it sung horribly.
Oh, and Bertha needs to come sing. She's so good, and
it's always the worst. It's always the worst singer. And I remember one of my first times working a service when I worked in the cemetery. A young lady had lost her baby, and it was really sad. And her friend got up there, and I kid you not, this is what she did. She gets up there, she's getting ready to sing. Amen. She sang the song like that the whole time. And I was doing exactly what you're doing right now. I'm in the corner like laughing my butt off because she sounds
you're in such
horrible.
a bad position because
it was horrible. And I don't know about you guys, but I have I laugh at the wrong times. And
you laugh out of discomfort, I think.
Yes.
You're nervous, you don't know how to react to a situation, so you might giggle a little bit, and then you realize that was so not the correct thing to do.
Yeah. So I love Amazing Grace, but sometimes people just can't sing. And it's never a judgment because I can't sing. And you're singing out of love for your loved one, and you're doing
and for your Lord, and
right. But it's not always good. And we have to suffer through it.
I know. It's so bad. Oh, it's like bad karaoke where you're like, really? They're doing this? Who let them do this? Who gave them the okay to do this?
But the family always loves it. They always love it. Oh, she did such a good job. She sang her heart out. Thank you so much. And everybody on the front row is crying, and I'm just sitting there like, okay.
Which is the important thing at the end of the day. You want the family to be happy about it, but this video is not about families being happy about the song choices that they've chosen. It's about the funeral professionals being like,
I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston or Dolly Parton.
No, Whitney Houston is my girl, and I will always love her song.
You're like,
Houston
no.
is my favorite. I, on a daily basis, ask Alexa to play Whitney Houston just because I'm obsessed with her.
What are some songs? This is kind of a joke within.
I have a list.
The ironic songs.
Mm-hmm.
Ironic songs.
Well, just ironic songs, bad songs. Maybe you don't really want to play these songs. Think twice about them.
And I remember when we've talked about this before, this is my favorite commercial. And it's the most ironic funeral business song I could ever imagine. So it's this dude driving a car, and you're panned in on this dude, and it's Another One Bites the Dust by Queen is playing, and this guy's jamming, and they show cars driving by going weird, and then the video pans out above, and he's driving down the highway in a hearse. And the song's blaring out of the car. And I just love the irony of it. But that song to me is, because there are times Another One Bites the Dust. It just kind of pops in your head, which is a bad funeral director, I guess, song to pop in your head. But it does. But that is irony at its worst right there for the funeral business.
Burn, Baby Burn.
Oh,
yeah. Or for me, irony, Dust in the Wind.
Yes.
But I love that song so much. When I used to work at
Waffle beautiful.
I worked at
Waffle House?
Yes. One of my first jobs out of college was at Waffle House.
Oh, I feel like we just opened a door.
But
that's about you, Joel.
I know.
Several lives. Okay, I've worked in a hair salon. I've worked with babies, Alzheimer's patients. I've done.
And now the Waffle House.
Dollar Tree, Captain D's. I've done a lot before getting into the funeral industry. But "Dust in the Wind" is one of my favorite songs, and it makes me cry when I hear it.
Okay, I have one that when I was researching bad funeral songs, this one actually made me laugh. and if you guys don't laugh at it, I'm gonna like totally need to like reevaluate my whole life. But from The Wizard of Oz, Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead.
Have you seen like the memes, like at my funeral, I want, you know, Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead or something played? I feel like I've seen that meme, and it's like, we'd never play that. Is that one my cousin?
I haven't seen that, but I've seen like the did we say Highway to Hell yet?
No.
Like the bad ringtones to play, like Highway to Hell at a funeral. But I just was laughing so hard when I was like, Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead, because I could like, probably like the nicest granny has passed away, right? And then like that song gets played, like that's what happens. That's what I think of.
Whoops. I'm gonna find that meme here quick, but keep talking. I'm trying to think. Drop It Like It's Hot at the cemetery. That's another that I know people have joked, like, drop it like it's hot, drop it like it's hot.
I love the second line music that they play down in Louisiana. The second line music that they play down in Louisiana when they're walking the caskets down the street.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that music.
That is fun. Man,
do you guys think that the type of music that's played, what am I trying to say? Like influences the energy of the funeral? Because with that Zydeco music, everybody's kind of moving and dancing and getting that energy out. Where with some of these other ballads, they're like bawling their eyes out. Which would you prefer?
I feel like some people choose music just to trying to elicit pain. Maybe I mean, not so much pain, but the more people cry, the better the funeral. Where it's not really even reflective of the person. It's just trying to get more sadness, whether it's about the person or not. So I feel like sometimes that is the situation. And I could pick out some serious tearjerker songs and make the most phenomenally bull-fest funeral ever, but it doesn't mean it reflects the person. So I think as long as it's along the lines of that person and it makes you think of that person. And, you know, like there was a guy in this area and he played at a lot of different restaurants and bars, music and stuff. And he played the piano and sang, and he was hit by a car and died when he was riding his bicycle. And so playing one of his like biggest hits that he played, not the most obvious choice for a funeral, but they, you know, playing that, and everybody would be taken back to a moment they saw him playing and would feel an emotion from that. So like those things, great, but just picking songs because of whatever. But I think fun music is also really good, you know, where you, I don't know, silly music and, you know, take back to, I don't know, some people doing wedding, you know, like for song dances and I don't know, just some, I don't know, some good stuff. There's good. Here, I'm sorry, I have to do this quickly. Can you read this? Probably not. It says, you know how funeral programs always have a lily or praying hands or a picture of the deceased on the cover? I want mine to have this.
I've never seen that before. I obviously am not on Facebook as much as I need to be.
That's my cousin posted it, and I said, I will promise, as the Lord is my witness, that I will put that on your funeral. Like, done. I have no idea. What did Joel was asking about, sad or happy music? I have no idea.
What would you prefer, sad or happy at your funeral?
I just want music that's reflective. You know, I think I feel like it would be fun to be ironic, you know, and to play Another One Bites the Dust. And just,
I was gonna say, for your funeral, I feel like we have to play all of these songs that we're saying we're not gonna play.
I know. I want like, I'm trying to think of like, what is on your list of your ironic?
Girl, I got a whole list over here.
What I think is funny is you never have to pour another glass while we're doing this because you started with 2 glasses.
Well, because I couldn't decide what one I wanted. So I have this one. And then I have my wine about funerals one because obviously I have to have that. So I came prepared.
Yes.
Okay, so another one. that I think is funny, but like you guys probably won't think it's funny. The Best Day Ever, but that SpongeBob SquarePants song. Like, do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I know no.
Okay, so
SpongeBob.
Josiah and I started dating when we were 15. So our dates when we were 15 basically consisted of like playing video games. So we were really into like Rock Band and Guitar Hero and things like that. So we downloaded SpongeBob SquarePants, the Best Day Ever song. And it's like, I am tone deaf, but it's like, it's the best day ever. It's really cute. Look it up. It's super cute song, but like you don't want to play that at a funeral because it's probably not the best day ever. So like I thought that was funny.
Anything where it's like you're going down or you're going away or you're burning.
Oh, what about that one? I forget who sings it, but it's like, let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor.
Joelle's going clubbing.
Yeah. I like that one. My sister and I have a joke that says, you know, whenever one of us dies, we're going to have something that'll propel our bodies up in the casket. And when the beat drops, we're going to just pop.
Oh my God.
We've been saying that since we were kids. Totally joking. I don't want anybody to get offended and cancel me because I'm joking about that. But yeah.
Another one bites the dust. I'm really like all the same. I feel like that's a lot of the same. So let's see. Next question is songs that always make you cry at funerals.
Oh my gosh. When people play Dance with My Father Again by Luther Vandross, either at funerals or at weddings, I'm a bucket of water.
Yeah. That's so like Daddy's Hands. Do you guys know that song? Daddy's hands were soft and something when I was old. It was basically like talking about his hands and picking you up and holding you and, you know, all the things that Daddy's hands do. It's by Holly Dunn. Great song. That's one that's overplayed. Or Grandpa by the Judds. Grandpa, tell me about the good old days. It's overplayed too. They're great songs. Overplayed.
Okay, so there's this one song. I was just Googling it while you were saying it. I personally am not a huge country fan, but I do listen to country, but it's just not my first choice of music. So I don't know a lot of country songs. And I will never forget, I was working one funeral when I first got licensed. And this is quite a popular song, but this was my first time hearing it, and it totally like knocked me on my ass, like whatever. It's When I Get Where I'm Going by Brad Paisley, and he says there's this line, and I'm like, if I get emotional now or whatever,
right.
But he goes, I'm gonna walk with my granddaddy and he'll match me step for step, and I'll tell him how much I miss him every minute since he left. And like, he said that line and I start bawling like in the funeral home for this funeral. And I'm like, I was 12 when my grandfather died, but that song, every single time like I hear it, just like
get you, like catches you.
Yes.
What makes you cry, Joelle?
Dance with My Father by Luther Vandross and Pass Me Not. It makes me think of my Nana.
I've never heard that song.
I was gonna say, I don't know if I know that.
You've never heard that? It goes on, pass me not, oh gentle Savior, do not pass me by. I can't remember the name, the words of it, but it gets me every time because of
I'm gonna look it up.
I'll find it and send it to you. But to play it on the keyboard for my Nana, and she would sing, and oh my gosh, every time I hear it, I go back to that, and it makes me bawl. I'm getting emotional thinking about it now.
You cry, I cry. Let's not.
I'm not gonna cry.
Don't cry.
Sad songs. Why do we have like wine about it going on?
I think Alleluia is a song that it's one of my favorite songs.
Me too.
It's the most nonsensical song if you really listen to it. But when I was in labor with my daughter, I listened to that song, the Canadian Tenors version, on repeat on headphones for like 2 hours straight through like just the most intense pain. And it was like my zen. And I heard it the other day at a funeral and I was like, I'm so not crying while dismissing these people, and it was the pentatonics version, and it was just so good. It's just beautiful and pretty and just, oh. And when they say, I'm going to stand before the Lord of song with nothing on my tongue but hallelujah, and I'm just like, yes, just like, it just, I don't know, it just elicits this something in me every single time. That song will never get old after, 2-3 hours on repeat. It's not getting old now. So that is one that will always hit home for some reason. And
have you guys ever heard Total Praise?
Mm-mm.
That's a really good one as well. I'll try to send it to you. It's really good.
There is a song, and I've only had it played at a funeral a couple times because I think it's not as well known. It's called Thank You. It goes, thank you for giving them to the Lord. Thank you for, it's basically saying, thank you, God, for this man who gave everything, or this, it could be for a woman who gave their life and gave everything they did to you while they were here. And we played it at a funeral for a gentleman who was like a deacon of the church, and he just had put so much into this church. And I'm like, frickin', and I don't ever cry at funerals. Like, it just doesn't. And I'm like, holy crap, what is going on right now? It just was like the most perfect. And I still, every time I hear that song, takes me, I think, back to that moment of that person, and like a person who just gives their all. And thank you, God, for this person that was there and they were giving it and they were in it. And whoa, that's one that just kills me when I hear it at a funeral. It's just I Googled biggest tearjerker songs, and it tells me Whiskey Lullaby. I forgot the word funeral, so that might make a difference. And the first song that comes up is Nothing Compares to You by Sinead O'Connor. Who plays Sinead O'Connor at a funeral?
People, obviously.
Oh,
never heard that song before.
What?
Is it Sinead O'Connor is
the bald Irish lady, or wherever she is?
Wait,
I know who she is. I've just never heard the song.
Didn't she take her own life?
No, she's alive.
I feel like she tried and she didn't. We're going to have to, do we fact check? That's a podcast thing, but maybe I should.
I feel like this just took like a weird turn. Hold on.
Nothing compares to you. All the flowers.
Wikipedia says that she is an Irish singer. So
there is a song by Dan and Shay, or somebody and somebody.
Oh, that, yes.
Something in the Sky.
Yes.
And yep. I had to play that on repeat for 4 hours for visitation one day.
Is it Dancing in the Sky?
Yes. And it's a great song the first 2 or 3 times that we played it. And I was like, wow, I've never heard this song. A lot of funeral directors say they play that a lot for funerals. And so I really liked it the first couple times. Obviously, after a few hours, it gets old. But it was a really great song to play. I just liked, it was a nice tone to it and everything. This guy whipped out his phone and he starts playing a song. And I was like, I've never heard that song. It's kind of really emotional. And it was See You Again by Charlie Puth. From the Fast and Furious movies after Paul Walker died.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Great song. That song gets a little, I will get a little tears over See You Again. I'm not gonna lie. Tears in Heaven, good song. If I think about that, he's writing it for his like son who fell out the window and died. Do you guys know?
Mm-mm. I don't know what that one is either.
Eric Clapton? Like
this video has basically shown me that I have no idea what any sort of music
is. It makes me feel old. That's what this video does. Hi, I'm the old lady. So Eric Clapton, like the epic guitar player. His son, who was I think 2 at the time, they were at a hotel, and the kid went out on the balcony and fell and died. And so he wrote the song Tears in Heaven, and it's this app. Seriously, I'm going to make a list from this video of crap that we all need to go listen to, because we're all out of touch with life in all of our own little worlds, I think.
I feel like an awesome thing about like music within funeral service is like music kind of surpasses like all cultures, all languages, like all age groups. Like when we as humans just listen to music, we can all connect on it. And I think that's like the beautiful thing about music in general. It's you can listen to it and you can feel a certain way. And I can feel the exact same way listening to a particular song sitting here on the East Coast of the United States as somebody in Australia listening to that same song. And it just evokes these feelings and these emotions through us. And when it comes to playing songs at funerals, I feel like you kind of like fall into 2 separate tiers. And I might be kind of using this in a broad sense, but you have your religious folk who are going to be listening to your church songs, your gospels, you know, that Lord worship, music that when you listen to it, it can just kind of uplift you and it reminds you that there's something greater in this world. And then you have maybe on the other tier of that, maybe the family members who don't identify with a certain religion or identify maybe as atheists or whatever they may be. And those are the families that are listening to Frank Sinatra, My Way, and like all of these other musics that are still, you know, evoking emotions, but just without that religious spin on it. So it's interesting with this conversation because I feel like, Kari, you're bringing up a lot of religious music that maybe like I haven't heard in my area. So maybe that speaks for how dominant religion is in my community, you know, as different from yours. So it's really interesting because our songs are different and it's just cool. It's cool to, I guess, wonder why.
I didn't expect it. Like I truly, going into this conversation, figured we would like be on, all of us would bring up some of the same things, and we're not.
We're not.
I'm really surprised. Whether it's generational, cultural, regional, I have no idea, but it's really interesting to me that it's because we're all women, so it's not like, you know, gender thing. It's really fascinating that it is kind of very diverse in what we're bringing up.
It's so interesting that feeling itself is universal, because at one point our communication could only be done through music because we didn't all speak the same language when we were slaves. And I'm from Low Country, South Carolina, which is considered Geechee Gullah Nation, right? And so there's a lot of the old Negro spirituals that are sung during not only our church services, but also our funeralization process. Is that even a word? Is funeralization a word?
Yes, we will denote that it is now a word.
Okay, thank you. You have no idea how many comments I get saying that's not a word. It's a word.
No, you're good. You're good.
Professional saying it's a word.
But it's such a deep part of our culture there, because that was the only way we could communicate with each other. And
so what was the question? What do we want played at our own funerals?
Well, Gullah Gullah, I don't know. Josiah and I, our first song when we were married was called Come to Me by the Goo Goo Dolls. And the Goo Goo Dolls, for people who maybe don't know, they are actually born and raised in Buffalo. So like us Buffalo people hold them very closely in our hearts because they're like some of our own. So when we were thinking about like a first dance song, we immediately thought of the Goo Goo Dolls. And my mom was actually like, hey, did you ever hear of Come to Me? And we were like, no, because at the time it was a newer song. And I will play that one at my funeral probably because I feel like it can be fitting, but also it's special just because it was my first dance song.
Do you think Josiah will want it played though?
care what Josiah wants because it's my funeral. No, that's like rule number one. Like, it's not about the deceased, it's about the living.
Do you want him to remember that song in reflection from your funeral rather than your wedding? I always wonder that with like first dance. Do you really want that song to then become a funeral song rather than a wedding song?
Well, let me say this. This is probably going to sound really weird too, but I want Josiah to die before I die. And I know that that sounds very weird to a lot of people who are watching this, but the reason why I say that is because I feel like I would be able to process his death better than he would be able to process my death. Now, him and I were both going to be 30 this year. We started dating when we were 15. So we are coming to the mark where we have literally been together for half of our lives. Like, God willing, if we live an extended period of time, we are going to just we're always together. And when I think of living without him, I completely am like devastated, and I don't even want to like picture what that life is like. But I do think that, I don't know if it's because I'm a funeral director. I don't know if it's because like I look at grief differently or whatnot, but I just think that I don't want him to live without me, because I don't want to know a world in which he is carrying that kind of grief. And I don't mean to say that like putting me on this pedestal or whatever. I guess you just kind of have to like know our relationship a little bit. But is that weird that I just said that?
Not at all.
That's so beautiful.
Oh, it's good.
So
I think right now there's this song called He's Sweet I Know, but I want the version sang by Pastor Dewey E. Smith to be played, because it's basically talking about how times get hard and, life is rough and sometimes shit sucks, or stuff sucks, excuse me. But
shit sucks too. Yeah,
shit sucks. But it just basically says God is still sweet, and those storm clouds may roll in, the sun is going to shine again. And that's how I want people to remember me. Things get hard. It may be hard without me, but just remember that the sunshine is always going to come. So that's what I want. So what's your song, Kari? What do you want played at your funeral?
Oh, my funeral. So it changes based on, it's funny because it is songs that are pertinent to my closest people. It's not generalized songs, which I think that 10 years ago, maybe I would have picked songs that were maybe generalized, like One More Day, which is a country song. Like, if you had one more day with somebody, what would you do with it? It's a great song, tearjerker for sure, but doesn't really speak to me. But like Andy and I's song is Fast Cars by Tracy Chapman. Why? I don't know. We just both love it. It is an awesome song. I just love this song. I don't care who sings it, what's happening. It is the best song. And then my girls, they're my honey girls. I've always called them my honey girls. And our song has become Better Place by Rachel Platten. Lauren especially, if you have never listened to that song, you must listen to that song after we are done.
Oh, am I gonna cry?
Yes. But to me, whatever they need to play, whatever they need to do, go for it. Like when my dad dies, I'm playing Simon and Garfunkel, Bridge Over Troubled Water. That's what I played for our first dance. My dad and I, when we did our daddy-daughter dance, that's what I played for our dance. And my first wedding, and play that as a funeral. Like there's people I feel like what you want to play at their funeral because of relationships and who they are and kind of their reflection on the community and their people around them. And
my parents at their funerals, they've told me that they want me to play In My Life by the Beatles. And
They're so good.
I love that
In
song.
my
And that's one that I actually don't
life.
hear very often on funerals, but I feel like it's such a gorgeous song. And I straight up told my mom, I'm like, I'm not playing that song for you. And she goes, why not? I want that song played on my funeral. I said, Mama, if I play that song, I'm going to be bawling my eyes out the entire time because
That's okay.
I know that's the whole point of it is to get our emotions out. And I feel like that's so funny because that's a song that like I hear now and I'm like, oh, it's a gorgeous song. But like if I think about playing it for her, it just hits a different chord for me.
You
And
can't think ahead. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You can't think ahead because you'll never want to do something that's going to cause you a certain emotion and that's going to cause you a certain pain and that's going to hit a certain chord because you can never prepare for a loss emotion. You can never prepare for what your heart's going to really feel when your mom's gone. And so you just like want to wipe it away, anything that even feels like it. And yeah, it's such a common, I think, just, no, we can't do that because that would make me feel too much. Too much. Can't feel too much. We got to.
Funerals aren't for feeling things.
No, you got to keep it at an arm's distance. Keep it away. It's not good. So thank you, ladies. We've been talking music like so much. We started with some good questions and we went full spectrum, all the music we love. We're tired of hearing at funerals, things we want for ourselves, things that are ironic, like Drop It Like It's Hot. But thank you, ladies, for discussing. It's been so good to hang out and chat with you and just talk about music. See you guys next time.
This has been so much fun. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye, guys.
Good friend, and that's in the thick and thin.